Brett Anderson's with us. Hello, Brett. How are you?
Hi, Dermot. I'm good, thank you.
You look terrific.
Well, thank you very much.
What is it? Me and Ben were talking downstairs, and this is in a very heterosexual way. You look better now than you ever have done.
Yeah, I didn't really look after myself back in the 90s very well, to be brutally frank. So I don't know what it is.
Do you look after yourself now in terms of, like, do you run and exercise?
I cycle. You know, I kind of yeah. It's the best way to get around London, to be honest. So
are you into cycling? Because I love my cycling, but I saw this guy Mark Cavendish the other day. I don't know if you saw that. He's won the World Cycling Championship, and he went.
I'm not on that level.
Really?
No.
You should do a kind of old 90s.
bit of pottering along the canal. That's about my level. You know, I'm not kind of actually some sort of like pursuit cycling champion or anything like that. You don't.
What do you?
I haven't got those kind of tight Lycra shorts or anything like that.
What bike do you sport? Do you have a nice bike?
It's just an old push bike.
This is the sort of stuff we talk about on the show. We're going to rarely talk about music, so
we can
waste half an hour on
I'm
push
not
bikes.
some sort of Olympic cyclist, but I do like to cycle. It's amazing. You know, I've kind of discovered stuff about London that I never knew when I just drove around London.
Yeah.
Because you kind of, like, when you're driving, you're so sort of paranoid about kind of, you know, one-way streets and all this sort of stuff. And you cycle around, and you're just so free, and it's really lovely. And the canal, Regent's Canal, is just amazing to cycle on. When we rehearse up in King's Cross, and I live in West London, so I just go along the canal. It takes like half an hour. It's amazing.
Are there parts of it you can't go on because people live there, or are they pretty cool about that whole thing?
There's little bits in Maida Vale that you can't go, that look private and stuff.
The little Venice part.
Yeah, but generally, and there's one bit in Islington you have to get off because there's no tow path, goes under a tunnel.
Yeah.
But generally, you know, I can get from, you know, West London to kind of Hackney, you know, in about 45 minutes.
That's not bad.
It's amazing.
All along the canal.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Last time we saw you didn't see us, but we went down to Latitude. We DJ'd there, and we saw you headlining with Suede. That was a great night.
Yeah, that was amazing. I loved it. Yeah.
Were you on the tour at the time, or was that just a one-off gig for you?
No, we were sort of doing a festival kind of circuit thing. You know, I think we were in Belgium the night before, glamorous Belgium. And
Belgium gets a bad rap, though, doesn't it?
No, I'm not being ironic. Very glamorous.
oh, I see.
You know.
We went over to Bruges as a team. We had a team outing in Bruges.
Did you?
Yeah, which, when you get there, you realise just how homosexual that sounds, because you get there and you realise Bruges effectively is... there are only couples in Bruges, and we got there and it was just 3 guys, and so walking around, and to the point where we got to the hotel, and the guy went, I've got 2 rooms, but do you want 1 double bed or 2 single? We'll have the 2 singles.
Very broad-minded in
They
Bruges.
are. They're lovely. But at the time, were you doing your stuff? Because obviously you've got the new album out now. So at the time, you were obviously recording and doing the Suede stuff as well, right?
Yeah, I've been sort of chipping away at the solo album for the last year and a half, really. So while I was touring with Suede, we'd occasionally have like a few weeks off and stuff, and then I'd go back to it. So the two kind of things were kind of going hand in hand for a while. Yeah.
Easy to do, easy to switch mindsets and...
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, there was never any kind of confusion for me. When people sort of said, "Oh, you know, didn't you want to sort of save some of these songs for Suede or whatever?" And it wasn't really like that. I made the new album very much with a different band, and it was very clear to me the kind of identity of the songs was different and stuff. You know. Yeah, it's kind of very clear to me. Yeah, it feels very separate. And now when I play live, when I play solo shows, I don't play Suede songs anymore. I used to when I made the first album. I would chuck a couple of Suede songs in there, but
even on an encore, you wouldn't do that now. And
no, I have to be very, very firm about it, and I get a lot of pressure to play Suede songs, but I can't do it. It's sort of disrespectful to the band, really, especially now as we exist again. You know,
yeah,
it's kind
absolutely.
Of, you know, and there's a lot of pressure for me to do it, and promoters are always wanting me to do it, and, you know, you get festival slots abroad, and promoters always go, go and play a couple of Suede songs. I can't, you know, it's not fair to Suede. You know, if they want Suede, they have to...
book Suede? No, absolutely.
You have to book Suede.
It's
so
lovely.
I think you have to be principled about it, you know?
Yeah.
It's important.
Well, I suppose it's different when you know, when the band were dormant, as it were.
Yeah,
then it's fine.
Exactly.
But now, you guys are up and running again.
Exactly,
That's wonderful. Must be lovely to do both.
It's quite nice because they fulfil very sort of separate kind of needs. You know, playing with Suede is very physical. You know, it's kind of like literally playing an hour and a half of. It's sort of like doing aerobics or something like that. It's very. The crowd are going absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And the solo thing is obviously at a different level. It's, you know, and I completely accept that. But it's, for me, it's more of a creative thing. You know, it's about what I'm doing in 2011 as an artist. You know, rather than what I was doing in 1994 as an artist.
And also as a man in your 20s as opposed to what? I mean, how old are you now?
I'm 44.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So a man in the 20s, a man in his 40s, that's two different people.
Yeah,
really, isn't it?
quite literally. I mean, your body reproduces every 7 years. Every cell in your body kind of changes every 7 years. So literally, after 7 year periods, you're physically a completely different person.
Really?
Yes. This is a medical fact. You see, having me on your show, you learn things like
I
that.
knew that was going to happen in some way, but I had it down as I thought
it's
it was
an
gonna be like,
educational afternoon.
I thought it was going to be like art and stuff. I had no idea it was going to be about the human body. That's terrific.
Yeah, that's true. It's a fascinating concept, that, I think. You know, that you literally are physically a different person every 7 years. So therefore, your memories also. I love the idea that your memories aren't really your memories. They're kind of like Xerox copies of your memories that are copied down from regeneration to regeneration. It's a bit like being Doctor Who.
But do you, when you remember stuff then after 7 years...
I guess you remember the memories.
Yeah.
They're almost like copies.
And with rose-tinted glasses, I would imagine.
I guess you do, yeah. That's why,
How do you know this stuff? I mean, don't get me wrong, I read, but I don't know this stuff. I know you're a vivacious reader, and I'm the same. But maybe I need to stop reading historical fiction and start reading some different stuff.
Historical fiction's good as well. I mean, I'm big into my history.
What kind of stuff do you? I mean,
I'm obsessed with the First World War.
Are you?
Yeah,
me too.
I'm obsessed with it. I find it a fascinating period of history. It's for me, it's just that whole period when it's the dividing point between the old world and the new world, and it's fascinating thought that. The start of the First World War, they went into war on horseback, and they came out of the war in tanks, and it was like this. Before 1914 was almost like the end of the Edwardian period, Victorian values, and by 1918 it was the 20th century had started.
Sure, and it blew away the whole class structure.
And the war
I suppose,
had accelerated that whole change. I think.
Would you ever?
A fascinating period of history.
Have you ever written a novel or a book like that? Would you ever do that?
I don't think I could top Birdsong. Have you ever read Birdsong?
Yeah, it's probably my favourite book of all time.
Yeah, exactly, mine too. It's an amazing book. So I wouldn't... I'm not a novelist anyway.
Have you seen...
I've toyed with the idea of writing a novel, though.
I bet you could. If you've got the discipline to sit there and write.
I'd like to when I'm older. But I always get asked, are you going to write your memoirs and that? And I hate the idea of writing a book about sort of my time in the 90s music industry. It's so sort of tired, and millions of people have done it before very badly, and I don't really want to add to that pile of books, of kind of bad books about 90s music.
Oh, I meant more about the body stuff. I mean,
yeah, I could do a sort of a facts and figures book, maybe,
I'd buy that. Listen, you're going to do Unsung rather, which is my favourite song on the album. And it is coincidentally. I had no idea you were doing it for today, because I thought you were going to be doing Brittle Heart, which was the first single. Is that right?
Brittle Heart's the first single, but I don't know how to play it on the guitar.
Okay, good stuff. The album is Black Rainbow. It's a brilliant album as well.
It's a bit, random. I mean, we kind of made the album quite strangely. It was like a little series of jams. So actually trying to play the songs on an acoustic guitar is very, very different.
No, sure.
This Unsung is one of the few songs that sort of makes a slight bit of sense on acoustic guitar. Okay. I don't know what Brittle Heart would sound like. Probably sound terrible.
Over to you. This is Brett Anderson. Hey, that's great. Brett Anderson, Unsung. I can't work out if that's a really sad or a really happy song.
It's both.
Oh, no. Yeah. Why are you messing with my brain for like that?
It's bittersweet, man.
So like a love song.
Soar like a love song.
Soar? So we're happy, we're up there.
Yeah, soaring away like a love song.
Then it goes sad.
But it's unsung. it's promised unfulfilled, see.
Dude, you've got to write a novel. Please write a novel. So listen, is this your first album in how many years?
Well, the last one was 2009. So the first album in 2 years.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, this is my fourth solo album now.
I thought you'd done 3. Is this your fourth?
No, it's the fourth. Yeah, I've been showing them out. No one's been listening, but I've been chucking them out there. But I've been enjoying it, learning a lot.
Are you getting in a strange way? Are you getting more out of it in the last 4 albums than you did? Because I imagine when you're in the band and you're on that crest of a wave and everyone's talking about you and you sort of almost like you've got nothing to prove in a weird way, because you're together and you're tight and the scene's there and everything like that. And I remember growing up listening to you guys and. You're idolised, and yet now it's all down to you, and you can do it at your own pace, and you can work with who you want to work with, and you're physically a different man. We've established that.
We have.
And
let's not go over it again. But
you keep your own person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've learned, making solo albums. I've probably learned as much, if not more, about what I can and can't do. And that's fascinating, you know, to sort of work out your limitations and stuff. I mean, the second solo album I made was just me and a cello player, and that kind of manoeuvrability you just don't have when you're in a band. And they're different things, they're different beasts. You know, there's brilliant things about being in a big band as well, the doors that open to you and stuff like that. But I've always thought, you know, if you're going to make solo records, make them different to sort of band records, kind of thing. You know, that's the point of it for me. And I've kind of really enjoyed it, you know. I don't know where it's going or anything like that, but it's, you know, I think you've got to follow your muse as an artist. You really have. You've got to kind of just go with what you feel like is the right thing for you to do. And you know, I've really enjoyed making this solo.
That's the nice thing, though. It doesn't need to go anywhere, does it? Because all it needs to do is take it where you want to take it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What a lovely, liberating position to be in. Do you know what I mean, though? It's blessed, isn't it? Really. I mean, you worked hard for it, but it's a great position to be in.
Yeah, I'm very lucky in my life that I'm able to do what makes me happy doing it. You know, and get paid to do it. It's kind of amazing. It's it's one of the goals in life, isn't it? Really.
So talk me through the whole improv thing, because you sat down to do this album with whoever produced it with you.
A guy called Leo Abrahams.
Right.
And we just basically sat down and went to a studio and jammed for 3 days. And we kind of like, we'd have like a CD of stuff that I wanted to, not to kind of copy, but to sort of like have the spirit of, you know, that you know, lots of the references to the starting points of the songs were things like, you know, bands like Public Image Limited, or kind of like, you know, Idiot period Iggy Pop or something like that. Quite sort of left field, guitar-based sort of like alternative sort of stuff, you know. And we just play a snippet of it and kind of, let's do something with this feel, you know. And we'd sort of start, you know, not copying it, but sort of, you know, I didn't want to sort of sit down and say, let's copy this, you know, let's just take some.
Use it as inspiration, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then it would kind of develop, and then half an hour later after playing, it'd be something completely different. You know, just completely different. You know, starting point was well forgotten about, and that's what we did. And then you know, we kind of developed those, and then I sort of wrote songs on top of those. We edited them all up, and I mean, that was the kind of real work. You know, the 3 days actually kind of creating the bare bones of the music. That was a lot of fun, but then the actual real work kicked in of me actually sort of sitting there and working songs out from these things. You know?
Had you ever done anything like that before?
No.
That improv way? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did enjoy it. It's quite a scary way to work, because you've got no safety net.
Did you work with him before?
I've worked with Leo on the previous album, yeah, and I kind of trusted him and really like what he did.
I suppose you need that, don't you?
Yeah, I couldn't have done that if that was the first time I'd worked with anyone and they'd said let's try an album doing it like this. I would have kind of said no way, not in a million years. I needed to sort of like establish some sort of working relationship with him to make it, you know, to trust him. Yeah.
So now you tour off the back of this?
Yeah, I'm doing a couple of dates. Yeah, I'm playing in God, when is it? Coco. I'm playing on 12th of October in London, and I'm playing a gig in Manchester the night before.
But do you want to tour extensively off this?
No, I don't want to tour extensively off this. I don't ever really want to tour extensively ever again in my life, because it turns you into a complete sort of broken human being. You know, I used to, in the 90s, Suede would do 18-month tours, and you get back from an 18-month tour, and you don't really know what's going on.
You don't really know who you are anymore, I suppose, do you? Because you look around, your regularity just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's a very, very kind of like destabilizing experience, and you know, I'm not in a stage in my life where I want that kind of like craziness in my life anymore. I love doing what I'm doing. I love doing what I do. I love going on stage, but I wouldn't want to do long tours now.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
No.
I mean, in as much as
it's great when you're in your 20s. It's a great way to live your life, but I'm not going to do that anymore.
Listen, when I was reading my notes up about you, I know you're into art.
Yes, do you like a bit of art?
I do, but I didn't know, and I didn't know any of the references, and so you need to educate me. What's good right now? What do you like doing? Are you a classic man, or are you photography, or?
I love kind of painters, really. You know, not modern painters, to be honest. I love all really old painters. People like I love Vermeer and Holbein and people like that.
No, I didn't. My girlfriend despairs because she studied art history and you know, and I love going to galleries, but I don't know much about it. What era are we talking about with those?
Well, actually, you know, they're kind of quite across the board. Holbein was at the time of King Henry VIII, wasn't he? And Manet was kind of an impressionist. So I love the post-impressionists, people like Gauguin and Van Gogh and people like that, and Toulouse-Lautrec and stuff like that.
Do you read about those guys as well, or you?
Yeah, I find it all fascinating. My favourite art gallery in the world is the Musée d'Orsay in Paris, and that's just amazing. It's got amazing kind of post-impressionist stuff there, so recommend that.
Ever been to the National Gallery in Oslo?
Exactly, National Gallery is amazing as well. That has some amazing...
The one, my girlfriend's Norwegian, the one in Oslo is an incredible gallery.
Ah, right, okay. So is that where the Scream is? Or didn't that get nicked?
No, they got it back, yeah.
It's
weird, really weird. I think they just felt guilty and they ended up giving it back.
And that's Scandinavians for you.
Exactly.
You wouldn't get that over here, would you?
And I read you spent a lot of time in Spain, right? In the countryside?
Yeah, we've got a little house out in the Balearic Islands, so go there quite a lot. Yeah, my wife is actually... she used to live out there, so yeah, spend a lot of time.
What do you do over there? You walk, do you write?
Yeah, it's just out in the countryside. We just sort of like, it's, people always sort of think it's this, you're going to be clubbing all the time or something like that. It's not like that. It's up in the north of Ibiza, and we just kind of like sit around drinking red wine.
That's the thing about Ibiza. Everyone always thinks it's just about clubs, and I've been there a couple of times, and the times I've been there, you maybe do one night or something, and the rest of it's beautiful, especially up north.
It depends where you go. There's like anywhere, isn't it? There's like London. There's 20 different versions of London. Well, there's infinite different versions of London.
I didn't have you down as a manumission guy.
No, certainly not. If you want to come to London and sort of like go to Mayfair, it's a very, very different experience than going to Dalston. It's like anywhere, sure. Isn't it? There's different versions of anywhere.
And I read you lined up to do the Andrew Marr show. Is that correct? Or are you doing that? Or are you not? Have you done that?
Oh, I don't know. That's a question. I don't know. Don't ask me.
Go on, do stuff like that.
That's a real question that you can't really ask me. I don't know.
I won't ask you then. But you should do stuff like what's the show? What's the show post Question Time? Ben, is it The Week or This Week? The Week, yeah. You should do that with Andrew Neil.
I actually really like that show with Michael Portillo and Diane Abbott. Is that the one you mean?
Yeah.
And Andrew Neil?
Abbott's not so much on it anymore because she stood for the Labour leadership, so they had to take her out. So then they get like guest people in there now. So Alan Johnson.
I really like that show. I haven't seen it for a while actually, but it's quite good. I think.
We want to get you on there, man.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I think you've got to stick to one thing. Try and be good at that. I'm not sure if I want to become some sort of like, rent a quote.
I didn't mean that.
I'll stick to going playing the guitar and singing.
Speaking of which, what are you going to finish up with for us?
Well,
you're doing a horror song.
Well, I don't know if this is true, but if it was Chinese Whispers, and it eventually came to me, but I sort of thought that you wanted me to play a cover.
We don't mind. You can play whatever you want to play. That's ideally, but
that's what happened. And so
when you get to sort of like legendary status or Hall of Fame status like yourself, we're just glad you're here.
Oh, that's very sweet. I wish I'd known that. You see, I wish I'd known, because I didn't work out any more of my own songs. So I worked out a song by the Horrors. Called Oceans Burning that I really like.
You like these guys, the Horrors?
I love them. Yeah, I think that this album, the new album, is really great. This is my favourite song on it.
Great stuff.
And I just thought I'd sort of play it badly on the guitar. I apologise to the Horrors in advance, and I apologise to their fans for ruining this song. But I thought I'd just give it a shot. And
thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
It's lovely to see you again.
Pleasure.
And you're always more than welcome, and best of luck with it as well.
Next time I'll come in and play 2 of my own songs.
There we go.
Yeah.
Over to you, Brett. This is Brett Anderson with the Horrors' Oceans Burning.